everybody, Shane here and welcome back to Bernie's Compound. This is part 3 of the engine swap over on a tomberlin buggy. Alright, as you see it's actually pretty much done, bar a couple of little things. So I'll go through what I've actually done. Hope the light's good in here. But basically there's the air box and wiring box. As you can see, it just sits in a big gap in the back of the frame above the top of the motor. So when I actually made the box, I put it in and it worked fine, except the amount of wiring that was in this buggy, I didn't want to really separate a lot, so I ended up cutting the bottom out of the box and making the box bigger. So it actually, I don't know if you can see just there, you see that little extra bit is what I put on just to make all the wiring fit in, which worked because all the wiring fits in neat. As you see, the front of this across here forward is all the airbox, and all the back here is electrical. And you see there's the induction, just basically plumbing pipe. I've got some flexible pipe coming up into the actual airbox. And I thought, well, didn't know what sort of filter to use, so I ended up just getting a pod filter that I had laying around off the car, and I built a box around it, and that's how it turned out. So you can see it's got flutes in the front, a couple of flutes in the back, there's a couple of small flutes behind it, and then it's got the forced induction part. It just throws in a bit of extra air, and it all works really well. It's airtight, watertight. It's sealed up tight. So, and it runs good. So from there, petrol tank unchanged. Just got some heavy duty straps holding it in. As you see, I built some rear mud flaps, just like lightweight aluminium. They seem to work pretty good. As you see, I added these little brackets on here just to hold the seat belt in place so it doesn't fall around the back of the seat. But basically, you can see fuel tank sitting there. It's got a little button here which opens it up, pops it up. But what I've got to do now is I've got to pull the axle out. Because you look down there, nothing lines up. It's because the motor is already offset that way, but if I offset it even more, it was just too tight, and you wouldn't be able to do anything with the motor. If you had to replace something, you'd nearly have to take it out. So I offset it as much as I could, but I'm left with that gap. Now I come up with an idea when I first actually built the whole thing, was I could move that out, but you don't want to. You want to try and keep that on as much as the spline as you can. So I thought, I'll leave that and I'll space the axle. So what I've actually done is I've slotted out a big piece of aluminium which will fit onto a brand new sprocket I've got. And everything just slots in, well, like so. So that thickness of that should hopefully get me somewhere in the ballpark of making it all fit. Not to mention I've actually got some a brand new chain as well. So which means I've got to rip the whole axle out now, swap the sprocket over, put the spacer in with the new sprocket, fit the chain, and it's actually pretty much ready to drive. All I do, I sacrificed a few clamps off here for my car, but that's all easily done. It's actually been sitting on the trailer for about 2 months as it sits now, but just had so much work to do around the house. So, but basically there you go. I just thought I'll keep you updated. I'm sorry that it's been a while, but a lot of stuff's happened in the last couple of months, and it's just been hard to find the time to get in here to do anything. Not to mention this shed, you could not walk in it. It was full to the rafters. It was up here somewhere, just full of stuff. So I ended up having to clean it all out, move stuff around. As you see, that buggy was actually in this shed. This big buggy was still sitting on the trailer. But I got the little red buggy. I got the carburetor off that, and I've just cleaned it all up. I'm just going to drain the tank, so I've got fresh fuel going into it, and it should be ready to go. And the little quad bike that I exercise the dog with, I've got a new chain to fit on that, so that'll be good fun. But as you can see, the dog has literally destroyed my yard, because it hasn't stopped raining here for 2 months off and on now. You see, all he does is run and run and run. But I'll give you a tour around my yard. Look, there's my old DT100. As you see, we're not in the city anymore. Here's my messy backyard. The buggies. You ready? The dog's going to start chasing cars in the yard in a minute. As you see, the dog just destroys the yard. Here's the dog's own personal track. This is not from me, this is just the dog. He just loves to chase everything in the yard. And this is what he does, he destroys the yard. You can see all the way down. That's how much rain we've had. I had to dig a big channel out because it was flooding the back of the shed. The driveway that I can't use because it's like a swamp. But that's alright, it's starting to dry out. It's a nice day now. So, alright, well I might just leave it at that. So, there you go. Trying to keep up to date with everybody watching. But I'm going to get into this axle in the next couple of days. So hopefully in another week I'll have another video loaded up and running, driving. Because I've got the property up the back here. So I've got plenty of room for testing. I've got property down the road as well, so it's a pretty good area. You couldn't do that in the city before. Anyway, thanks for watching, and then see you next time.